Today's Wednesday edition of the Daily Fantasy Basketball Podcast is brought to you by No Halftime. No Halftime is an iTunes app that allows you to compete in player versus player daily fantasy sports contest. Use the promo code BBALL for a free $25. That's BBALL, BBALL, for a free $25. That's No Halftime, where the fantasy sports season never takes a break. What is going on, guys? Welcome to our Wednesday edition show. I am Daniel Green. I'm joined, as always, by Mark Roberts. Mark, how you doing?
Good, man. You never take a break either. You're just like No Halftime, right?
That is true. I really don't take a break.
Good to hear your voice, man. Excited to talk about some basketball as usual.
Now,
and specifically NBA basketball. Can I tell you just quickly before we get started? I try to never do this. I try to make it so I never do, but I actually watched some college basketball over the weekend.
Yeah.
Which was a mistake. College basketball is it's like the worst thing to watch. But anyway, I turned it on because Ben Simmons was playing, right? And everybody talks about how great Ben Simmons was.
Wasn't he playing like a team with another top?
Playing Oklahoma, top-ranked team.
Okay.
So and it was a close game, and there was only 4 minutes left. So unless it ticked off all those boxes, I wasn't going to watch it. But it was so enticing because of all of those factors. Number one, like best college player since Kevin Durant, a good matchup against like the top-ranked team, close game, only a couple of minutes left. I turned it on, watched the last 4 minutes. LSU never passed it to Ben Simmons, and they lost. It was
he didn't touch the ball in the last 4 minutes.
He took the ball out of bounds one time. That was it.
Yeah. See, I know so little about Ben Simmons, like just from besides hearing he's like the next best, probably could be the best draft pick since LeBron, maybe. But like I haven't watched a game of him play. I know nothing really about him. But I think I heard one person say he's not the best offensive player. Is that correct?
They advertised on the game that he's averaged 20 points a game, so he must touch the ball sometimes. I also hear like them talking about how he's unselfish, but I just couldn't believe
is he big? How tall is
he's
that
big?
guy?
He's 6'10".
All right.
And I just couldn't believe LSU didn't run one play to get Ben Simmons the ball. Yeah, that's what I get for wasting 15 minutes watching a college basketball game.
Well, also the one thing in college too, that's where coaches take timeouts because they want to control everything. So you would
think if he's in control of everything, he would pass it to his best player one time.
One of those timeouts, he would have been like, "Hey, why don't we get the ball to the best player in college basketball?"
Yeah, you would think. It was maddening.
Well, that's disappointing. Yeah, I mean, I would say on the college season, like before March Madness, if you put like the over under me watching 3 games, it'll be under.
Oh yeah, if you put the over under of me watching 10 minutes, it would be the under.
Yeah, the only reason I will watch games is if my alma mater, University of Wisconsin, is doing well. And this year they stink after they had an unbelievable run the last few years, and last year were awesome and almost won the title. But otherwise, I've no desire to watch college, and this is one of the reasons why they need to change the rule and make NBA players or college players stay in college. At least 2 years. I'd like to see 3 years before they can go to the NBA. Because
I think he should go the other way.
You think it should?
Yeah, but just because the college game sucks doesn't mean you should force somebody to work for free.
I mean, yeah, well, yeah, I agree. I mean, I'd like to see that the college guys get paid a little bit, maybe, or get
I think it should be like a. Anyway, we're getting way off track here, but I think that they should try like a true minor league sort of system or something.
They do need to change something because the NBA is not as good all around. When you have 19-year-olds coming into the NBA who are not ready to play, that makes the league worse. It makes college basketball suck more.
See, the problem I have with them sticking a player, like I kind of just pulled a moral card on you, but my real problem with making players stick in college for 2 or 3 years is that college isn't a great place for players to develop. Like it's such a different game. It's the schemes and the plays they run are so much less sophisticated. And like, there's so much more fouling and holding and grabbing. Like it's just a totally different actual game. And I think the coaching, and the amount of time they can spend training and becoming better basketball players is limited. So I would like to see like a true developmental league. Like maybe you can't go to the actual NBA until you're 21 or something, but you can play in the developmental league, and like teams can actually train you and teach you how to play NBA basketball somehow. And if they actually paid those guys enough to make it worth their while, I wonder if that's a better solution and just bypass college altogether.
Yeah, I mean, it is one issue you'd like to see Adam Silver kind of address. Or
yeah. And you know what? If they want to pay for the guys in the developmental league to go to college and like take classes and get an education while you're in the developmental league, like that's fine. I'm not saying that you shouldn't support education. I'm just saying.
You know, I mean, the only reason why, you know, and I would take some argument with, you know, you're not going to mature or you're not going to develop in college. I think there are some really good coaches, but
Ben Simmons isn't learning anything from that LSU coach who's refusing to run plays for him.
I mean, I think there's obviously for the guys like that, you know, he's the exception, not the rule, though, right? So, but there's a big difference between coming into the NBA, just maturity wise, at 18, 19 versus 20, 21, you know?
No, I agree. That's what I'm saying. So like have a developmental league where they actually like the goal is to develop these younger players.
Yeah, I mean, that would be fine too. I mean, what's interesting about the D League that I found over the weekend, which I found out for the first time, I thought every NBA team automatically was given a D League team. That's
no.
Like guess how many teams do not have D League affiliates?
Isn't it? It's getting less and less every year, but I think is it 14 this year that don't have it?
I think it's 11.
Is it 11?
But I still was shocked at that. So like. I forgot what team they were talking about. It was like, you know, Washington and this is not who it actually was because I forget now, but it was like Washington wanted to send down a guy. So they sent him to like San Antonio's D-League team. Like, how bizarre is that? Like, to me, that like blew my mind, right? Because, I mean, for instance, like one of the things when I follow Miami is one of the reasons why they love their D-League team because obviously their D-League coaches run Miami's system. So when they want to bring
that's what I think you've got to expand and put some more money into the D-League system if you're going to actually do it.
Yeah, that made no sense to me.
And they don't pay those guys anything. And
no.
Anyway.
So that was a nice little get off topic.
Anyway, but the point is I'm not going to watch any more college basketball. It served me right for trying to watch.
No, well, if there was a game you would like, you know, you would think would have been a game to watch, though, that would have been it. So, I mean, I remember seeing that, you know, and then I debated it for like a second. I was like, yeah, no, it's still college basketball. But so, all right, no more Ben Simmons for either of us this year until he's in the NBA.
I'll translate his college stats to his NBA projection, and that's it. I'm not doing anything more.
And I do think he is being set up to fail, like because people are mentioning him with LeBron. I mean, come on. Right?
I guess I can't say because I didn't see anything from him one way or the other. Like I have no idea. I've seen the highlights and they do look promising. It does seem like he.
So what does he do well?
I think he does a lot. I mean, certainly he's an athletic guy. He's big and long and all that good stuff.
He's just scoring points because he's just so much more athletic than.
No, I don't think he's a good shooter. I think the thing that I've seen that I've been impressed with in his highlights that I've watched, again, not in the game that I saw because they didn't pass him the ball, but in the highlights, he seems like a very unselfish and a very good unselfish player and a very good passer. Like there's just some guys that see everything happening 2 or 3 steps ahead of everybody else, and he seems like one of those type of guys.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I want to know about Simmons right now is how much money did he get to go to LSU? I mean, I'm guessing. Do you think it's under 6 figures or over? Like, and that includes everything, cars.
Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense why he would go there. Right, and again, I don't mean to rail on. I don't even know who the coach is, but
exactly.
Like, why would you waste a year of your development playing at that school?
I will say, like, you know, Baton Rouge is known to have a good time. So if you want to have a good time, but I mean, like that, he could have had a good time with at a much more traditional college powerhouse.
I don't understand why because I agree with you that there are places to go develop, but I think that there's like 2. Like I even think good college programs like Kansas, we saw Andrew Wiggins there. Andrew Wiggins didn't develop or show us anything necessarily in college. Like I think if anything, it hurt his development to be at Kansas. And Kansas is one of the top schools. I think basically you go to Duke or maybe you go to Kentucky.
No, or Michigan State. Wow, you're gonna hate on Michigan. Tom Izzo, man.
They're a good college program, but I don't know that they necessarily develop players.
You don't think Tom Izzo develops players? Draymond Green.
Draymond Green came from there.
Come on.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of failures that came from Michigan State too. Like, I'm not saying good players can't come from all different schools. Like, that's like saying Draymond Green came from Michigan State, so Tom Izzo is a good coach. That's like saying,
but I also
like saying Ben Simmons came from LSU, so LSU's coach is a good coach.
Yeah, but the difference between like Duke, Kentucky, and then Michigan State, the talent that Izzo is getting is much less than the talent that Krzyzewski and.
No, I agree. Like, Tom Izzo is he does a great job coaching. He does a great job winning college basketball games. Bill Self does a great job winning college basketball games at Kansas. I just think there's a difference between winning basketball games in college and preparing yourself for the NBA. And I don't know that that's necessarily that high on Tom Izzo's list. I think the only coaches that really do a good job of that are those two, Calipari and Krzyzewski.
I don't know, man. I would throw Izzo in there. I think you have some.
That's fine. If you want to put if there's 3 instead of 2, that's fine.
No.
But my point is basically that like most colleges don't help players get ready for the pros.
No, yeah, and for
not just college in general, like playing at a higher level and like being on a college campus and that kind of stuff can help to some degree. But I don't think that many coaches add value where they help their individual players get ready for the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I see pros and cons to that. So, I mean, but I did forget your hatred for the Detroit Pistons, Ben Wallace. Me mentioning a Michigan coach, I should have known that that was a fatal mistake.
Nothing to do with it.
That was a fatal mistake by me.
That had nothing to do with it.
All right, so.
All right, you want to talk some fantasy basketball, or you want to keep going about college basketball?
Dear God, let's get off college. Let's never talk. Let's make an agreement. Never talk college basketball on the Daily Fantasy Basketball Podcast again, unless it's during March Madness. Until March Madness.
Even then, I don't know.
Well, then it's just fun. Maybe we can do a bracket with our listeners or something like that. Something cool,
Yeah. All right, NBA basketball, where it's much more watchable.
First, Mark, our Friday show is coming up. Very exciting for the Friday show. You know what that means, right? You know what the Friday show means. My wheel of nonsense is back in play.
What have you got for us this week?
So I'm finalizing the top 3 that I will release the poll on Twitter tomorrow that you guys can vote on. So much going on. So many things.
This seems more official than it needs to be.
I'm telling you. I mean, right now, did you watch the Grease Live thing?
No,
on Fox?
I am not even aware of what that means. What does that mean?
I got a last second text from a friend. Thank God she texted me. Otherwise, I would never even known this thing was on. They did like a live, live musical on Fox of Grease like a couple days ago. Or no, I think it was Sunday over the weekend.
And you watched it?
It was magical, Mark.
Oh no! In like a actual magical way, or it was hilarious, even though they weren't trying to be hilarious.
No, it was really. I started watching just because I thought I'm just going to be laughing and like hating on it, but it was really good.
Did you start singing in your apartment?
A little bit, yeah.
Napping and.
When Grease Lightning came on, yes, you are going to start singing. If Grease Lightning can come on and you don't start singing, you have major issues. Look at me.
I think we're gonna have to agree to disagree on that.
Look at me. I'm Sandra D. And Vanessa Hudgens, who I find is so hot. She was in it. Carly Rae Jepsen, who sang "Call Me Maybe," who I did do a music video to a couple years ago. She was on. But
wait! What?
Yeah. So a few years ago, me and a couple of friends of mine did a music video to "Call Me Maybe." That's when "Call Me Maybe" was like, that was the thing.
A parody video of like everybody else.
Yeah, it was awesome. And if you are friends with me on Facebook, you can check that out.
Is it on YouTube?
No, but I wonder, there must be a way, right, to get it off of Facebook to post. I mean, like this was like 4 or 5 years ago we did this.
You're gonna have to send me a link to that, and then I'm gonna have to share it with all of our listeners.
Awesome. Now I'm not gonna lie, I was nervous. My performance was not great. The girls did a much better job than me. We had some smoking hot girls. The 2 girls who are 2 friends of mine. They were really good. And then I showed up and there was this other dude there who I didn't know. I was like, what is he doing here? So we were kind of beefing a little bit. But the video was cool. It was fun. Yeah, so anyway, Grease Live could be on the Wheel of Nonsense. Kate Winslet, who I talked to you pre-show, she's been making outlandish statements. She's a fascinating girl, Mark. So she's going to be on the wheel of nonsense. A couple other things too. I will tweet that out tomorrow. So we got that to look forward to. That will be much more exciting than our talk of college basketball, I think.
I don't know that you can put Greece on there now. I feel like we just heard all about it.
Oh, there's so much more. I could do a whole podcast on Greece on Greece itself.
I don't think the world's ready for any more of your thoughts on Greece.
You want to talk about the player we're going to break down on Friday's show? You want to tease that at all or no?
Nah, we're going to do one.
Okay.
That's all I'm giving you.
All right, getting on. Let's move to today's show. So a player that me and you have we haven't been beefing over this player, but we've been in
I think we disagree.
A small disagreement is Paul George, who I think's been really struggling the last couple of weeks, and it hasn't always been, I guess, seen if you're looking at the box scores, because he's had a couple 30-point games, I think. But I've been watching Indiana games, and he just doesn't look the same, doesn't look right. I thought it was like just fatigue at first, because coming off the injury, didn't play all of last year, and then to start off the year, he started off he was scorched earth. Is scorched earth a good thing?
I understood what you said.
Yeah, he was on fire to start the season, though. I mean, he was tremendous and always playing between 36 and 38 minutes a night, too. So I thought he was getting tired, but had a horrendous game a couple days. I don't know if it was last night or 2 nights ago against Cleveland. Now, Cleveland's not the easiest match in the world against LeBron, but Paul George just did not look right again.
That didn't stop Miles Turner from putting up another good game. But
Yep. Paul George had 11 points, 3 for 15 from the floor. And if you go back and look at the box scores, he's had some horrible shooting days this year. But this has been, not that uncommon to see a line like this. 3 for 15 from the floor, 1 for 5 from threes. Did get 5 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals, and 5 turnovers. And I'm worried about Paul George. Now, he's still going to be a really good fantasy player the rest of the year, but I'm not sure exactly. I don't think he's going to be a top 10 player. I really don't.
Why don't you share that quote that you sent me?
So anyway, he was just – you could see he was visibly frustrated on the court. And then after the game, I watched his press conference because I wanted to see if there's anything going to be in there. And they asked him kind of, where he sees his current role in the offense. And, and he has no idea. So this was his quote when they asked him, what's his current role on the offense, on Indiana's offense? And he said, it's hard to find the words for it. Before it was, and it's hard to read because obviously some of it's grammatically you have to change. But anyway, before it was, I had the confidence just being out there. I knew what I could do, and I was comfortable in doing that. Then it was slowly, you can't do this, you can't do that, too much of this, too much of that. So I had to change it up a little bit, kind of open it up for the other guys to be aggressive in the opportunities. So I'm not sure what to call it. And my tone was kind of how he did it. You could tell it was his head was down. He had no idea.
That was a good impression, huh?
Thank you. Yeah, I think so. I
have no idea what that means. What is that? I don't understand what he's saying.
Yeah, it's not the easiest quote but that quote is a symbol, Mark. Because I don't know what the hell that quote really means.
You're going to try to read something into that?
Yes, because he can't explain his role in the offense right now because he doesn't know. I don't know what the heck their offense.
What do you think? What do you think he means when he says you can't do this, you can't do that? Do you think that means he feels like his body doesn't allow him to do that? Do you think he thinks the coaches aren't letting him do that? Or that, whatever.
What I thought he meant defenses were trying to take things away from him.
I see.
Saying, all right, no, all right, now, PG, we're not going to let you, go left, or we're not going to let you do, go right or whatever. So then he started to be, get more other people involved and stuff. But quite honestly, all I know is this: that offense is changing, it's evolving, and it's not in a good way for Paul George right now. So I'm concerned.
So what does that mean? So his season average so far this year, he is scoring 23 points a game on 41% shooting. In the last week, say the last 2 weeks, he's scored 19.7 points on 38% shooting. So what do you think, rest of season, what do you think, points wise, shooting percentage wise, what do you think Paul George gives us then?
I'm trying to look at where his last 5 games are about.
Yeah, last 2 weeks, that's about the last 5 games. That's 6 games. He's got 19.7 points, 38% shooting.
See, this is what concerns me though. When I look at his box score, I mean, so when you look at the last, I don't know, 6 games, maybe 11 points, 19 points, 11 points. Then he had 31 and 34. Should note one of those was against Sacramento, who can't defend anyone and plays top 3 in the league in pace. And then he had 19, 19. So earlier in the year, he would never be below 20. So it's been. I think he's, the one thing I'll say that I'm looking forward to is now the All-Star break gives you like 7 or 8 days off.
Right.
So I'm hoping that's going to, I'm hoping it's still just fatigue, and he'll bounce back. But like, I wouldn't be surprised if, he's averaging something close to around 19 points a game the rest of the year, shooting like 43%, 44%.
Well, I mean, he's already shooting 41% on the season, so I would expect him to be around that 41% mark.
God, I didn't realize he's shooting that poorly already. So I mean,
I just told you like 4 minutes ago.
Yeah, I wasn't listening to you. I was looking at his game log. So I was shocked how bad some of his last recent games have been.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is just a case. Like, I don't think you should read anything into that quote. I would imagine he ends up right around that 22, 23 points a game range that he's been at all season. I think this is just peaks and valleys of the season. I kind of agree with your statement that it could be fatigue and the All-Star game could help him out.
I'm just saying, I
don't think the percentage is ever going to jump back up. I think it's going to be in the 40 to 41, 42% range, just because that's his role in the offense this season. But they need him to carry a heavy load. I don't think he's going to get fewer shot attempts. So, right now, like I said, he's shooting 38% over his last 6 games. He's playing the same amount of minutes. He's taking the same amount of shots. I don't think he's a worse shooter. I just think it's,
I do think it'd be wise. I do think Vogel should limit those minutes a little bit, quite honestly. He's still been playing like close to 40 minutes last couple of games. I know one was overtime against Cleveland, but I'd like to see that closer to maybe 35 minutes. But the one thing that I have noticed of that in that offense is Monte Ellis is starting to play a lot better, and his usage rate has went up. And the more shots, the more usage rate, the offense is starting to flow a little bit more Monte than it has Paul George. And when I look back at those comments, I think that might have something to do with it as well.
Yeah, something to watch for sure. But
I'm not saying go crazy, Paul George. Go drop him, do something drastic. Clearly,
I just think, from my perspective, I don't think he's going to take any fewer shots. Really, I think Paul George is going to get his shots in Indiana's offense. He's going to get his 18 shots a game that he's been averaging all season, and he can't shoot much worse than the 41% that he's already shooting, unless you really think he's a sub 40% shooter. So
that's pretty horrendous.
He's still getting the line 6 or 7 times a game. I'm not worried about him still, but I think you and I have a different outlook on George.
He's just still getting so much love, and yes, he was out all last year, and he's still he should get some praise because he's had a good year, but he has not. He's especially lately, he just hasn't been like a top player in the league. He's been great. He's an all-star. But I mean, people were saying he's like, he's top 5 and top 5 player in the league right now, and I don't think he's that right now. That's basically what I'm saying.
Yeah, he's definitely had a rough couple of weeks. The other thing, fantasy wise, that you have to remember that he gives you though is he gives you 6 to 7 rebounds, 3, 4, 5 assists a game. He's been like you said, he's been averaging six per game over the last few games. He's going to be close to the league leader in steals. This season, he's getting almost 3 3-pointers per game, so he helps you in basically every category except for that field goal percentage. He's a solid contributor in free throw percentage as well. So I think there's a very good chance he's a first-round value from this point on.
Yeah, he's probably one of the most interesting guys that I'm just curious to see what happens the rest of the year with him. Because just DFS as well. I mean, he was making me buckets of money, and then he has just been in the tank lately. And he's super expensive in DFS.
Yeah, I'd wait. I wouldn't play him there until you get your shot back. In fact, he might be a player to try to fade.
Yeah, I mean, fading in DFS and in no halftime. You want to go, do some LeBron versus Paul George, or do some DeMarcus Cousins versus Paul George. I mean, you're gonna get some takers on that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping All-Star break comes. He gets that 8 days of rest now, however many days they get, and he goes back to like he was earlier in the year with a little bit bigger, better numbers. But just something that I thought was interesting. And also, people in Indiana, they freak out about their basketball, so they are very concerned. And Indiana is battling for the 8 seed in the East. So they're
and also like the 3rd seed in the East.
That is true.
The standings there are so bunched up still.
Yep. No, I think Miami started the day in 3rd place, and they just lost. I think that they automatically dropped to like 6 or 7.
It's really crazy. Indiana right now is, as we speak, is in 8th place, and they are 1 game out in the loss column of 3rd place. So it wouldn't take very much for them to go up to 3rd or down to 10th. So they definitely need him to help out over there.
All right, let's do some news, man. Let's get off Paul George and his weird quotes about his role in the offense. And
that was some good detective work by you to go look at his post-game interview, though. Good job.
Thanks, man. I had to dig deep. Well, he had like you could just tell on the court he just looked like he wanted to punch Vogel in the face. So I had to dig a little deeper, do some investigative journalism. So some news, sad news, Mark. We have a firing in the NBA. Jeff Hornacek, he got fired finally from Phoenix. We talked about this in the podcast a few weeks ago when there was rumors that he may be fired, and instead they decided to fire I think his top 2 assistants. But now Hornacek finally got fired himself. I think Earl Watson is taking over for him, with a former player in the league. I think he was a former Phoenix Sun as well.
I think he was maybe a Phoenix Sun last season, wasn't he?
I think you're right.
Not that anybody really noticed.
Yeah, the fact that we can't confirm that's if he was, I can tell you he wasn't playing. He probably played about over under 10 minutes on the year. Would be my where.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, he was an assistant coach there last year. He played for Portland in 2013, 2014.
No.
And played for Utah the previous 3 seasons.
It's funny how many journeyman backup point guards are now becoming head coaches in the NBA.
Well, they tried to get Steve Nash first of all.
Yeah, they did try to get Nash, who said he didn't have any interest in the job right now, which is intriguing because that makes you think, well, that means Nash is probably going to coach at some point, but probably just didn't want that horrible Phoenix job, right?
Yeah, I still think he's probably trying to get his health right, but. The disappointing part from fantasy's perspective with this hiring is we have no past experience to look at for Earl Watson to see how he'll distribute minutes. Like when Stan Van Gundy went to go coach Detroit, we could go look at his years and years in Orlando and see how he distributed his minutes and who's probably going to get a lot of minutes, who's going to get a few minutes. We're just going to wait and see with Earl Watson because we have no idea what he's planning to do.
I mean, with Earl Watson, though, you got to play guys that are healthy, actually on the roster, right? So that's
yeah. Most of the time, that's a good place to start.
And lately, Phoenix doesn't have many bodies that can even play.
For example, one of our favorite young promising players, T.J. Warren, broke his foot, and he is out for the rest of the season, which is unfortunate news.
Unfortunate, but also gives other guys from Phoenix somewhat extra minutes and makes them fantasy relevant. I was quickly, while you were talking, trying to look at the Phoenix. So Phoenix is playing tonight. It was Toronto playing at Phoenix. And the other big news coming out of Phoenix was that they're going to start Markieff. And originally I heard he's going to start at center tonight, but Tyson Chandler started. So I guess Markieff started at the 4. Now Tyson Chandler only ended up playing 10 minutes.
Well, and the game's not quite over yet.
It's not over, but there's only 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. So It looks like Tyson Chandler did not get a lot of run. And Alex Len only got 16 minutes. So Earl Watson went with a really small lineup. Again, it's only a 1-game sample size. But,
and it could be opponent specific, but you're right. I mean, he played Markieff Morris a ton of minutes. He played Mirza Teletovic more minutes.
Yeah, but Toronto's got big men. Toronto's got, they played Toronto. Toronto's got Valanciunas, and they got Bismack, who both played, some minutes tonight. So not a ton, but
yeah, it seems like both teams kind of went small. I don't know. I didn't watch this game, and it's obviously not over yet. But yeah, it's I mean, it's definitely worth watching. And Markieff Morris
went bananas.
He went bananas so far. I mean, he could add to this, but he's got 29 points at this juncture of the game, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, a block, and a 3-pointer.
Probably
it's got to be his best season, the best game of the season.
Yep. And most importantly, probably he's played the most minutes. Archie Goodwin's played 36 minutes, but Markieff Morris has played 33 minutes tonight. So that might be more minutes that he's played in the last 20 games under Hornacek.
So probably the most important thing to pick up from here is that you should go pick up Markieff Morris.
Now, is he a player that is he paused the podcast to pick him up for you, or is he?
I think so.
Really?
Yeah, I mean he has a lot of potential, obviously, and if he can realize some of that potential, like last season he was the 69th best player in fantasy. He scored 15 points, 6 rebounds, 1.2 steals, almost a 3-pointer per game. I think those are very attainable numbers if he gets the playing time and if he's more happy with his situation with Earl Watson as the coach. Now, I'm not saying that will happen, but I think in a week's time we'll know one way or the other. So you might as well pick him up and then see what happens. And if you need to drop him after that, you can drop him.
I just dropped Clint Capella and I picked up Markieff in the league while you were talking.
Wow. Good for you.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say.
Don't you think, again, I mean, we always talk about this, and it seems like they come along once in a while, but there aren't that many high upside guys on the waiver wire. So if he's out there, I think that there's a chance that he turns into a top 70 player.
Yeah, I think the season. Yeah, man. So I think Phoenix is starting him because they want to trade him. They want to unload him. They need leverage. They realize right now they have teams are offering, a bag of peanuts to get Markieff, if that. So they're going to give him run until the trade deadline, which I think is a little over 2 weeks away now. So, and then after that, who knows? But I'm with you. I do think he's worth taking a flyer on because at this point in the season, if you can get a guy with that kind of upside who could help, he could be the difference in helping you win a fantasy title. So I do think you should probably pick him up if he's on, and he probably is on your waiver wire.
If you listen to Dan and picked up Alex Len a little while ago thinking that was going to work out, you can go ahead and drop Alex Len and pick up Markieff Morris.
Hey, Alex Len is my Clint Capella, my friend. So if you're still holding,
my goodness, that feels like a no halftime challenge.
I'm telling you, I still think Tyson Chandler, they're doing everything they can to try to trade that piece of 7-foot garbage. So, and his 27 rebound game. Dear, I mean that. How did that even happen?
So 3 games ago, Alex Len started and played 27 minutes and had 4 points and 4 rebounds.
Okay. I
think that's been his best game of his last 3 games.
I could look at some Clint Capella stats as well. No, look, this is what I think.
Here's what I'll do. I'll play you in Clint Capella every night for the next week. Clint Capella versus Alex Len every challenge weekend every night.
If Dwight's playing, I will take that. As long as Dwight is playing for Houston, I'll take that.
Either way, I'm happy to take that.
If Dwight's playing, I'll take it. But this is what I think is going to happen for Phoenix. I think they're going to play Markieff until the trade deadline. They're doing everything they can to unload Markieff and Tyson Chandler. Now we've talked about it's going to be a little bit tough to unload Tyson Chandler because he does have a contract with about 17 years to go on it. So not an easy thing to do to trade him, but they're going to try.
That was a bold move by Phoenix to give him that many years.
I mean, it's a stupid move. You could say bold. I'll say idiotic. Which is one reason why Nash would never. Why would you want to coach a team run by that owner and that front office, who I think is garbage? But I digress. So, if they trade Markieff and Tyson Chandler, that's going to open up minutes for Len. I do think if you can stash Len, not a horrendous move. I mean, clearly, if you want to drop him right now, I'm fine with that too. But he's a player to watch, and the second that after that trade deadline, he might be a guy that you want to snatch up. You disagree with that?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
So you think the games that he put up before last week when he was he was consistently for a couple of weeks putting up really nice lines? You think that's not going to happen even with Markieff, even with no Markieff? Maybe I think even if he got a
solid 28 minutes a game as a starter, I don't think he would be somebody you would want to own in a standard fantasy league.
Yeah, and
I think he would have some nights where it was great and it was 16 and 12 like he had with a block or two, and you go, yeah, I'm really happy I picked him up. But even that's not like, when every other category is zeros, he's basically getting 16, 12, and a block or whatever, and he's not getting anything else. That's good, but not great. And then he's going to follow up with other nights of 4 points and 4 rebounds, and the composite of those type of games where some are good, some are bad, I don't think it's going to be worth owning. I think he has a very low upside. I don't think he's a guy that if he breaks through is going to win you a fantasy title. I think he's going to get you 10 points and 8 rebounds, and that's kind of his best case scenario. I think he's Robin Lopez.
That's kind of harsh, man.
Hey, Robin Lopez is a good player. I think Phoenix would take Robin Lopez at this point, or a Robin Lopez level player for Alex Len.
I'm just going to read you this. 16 points, 12 rebounds, 2 blocks.
That's what I just talked about.
8 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks. If he's getting if no Chandler, no Markieff, me and Tom Izzo agree that Alex Len deserves a spot on your roster. So, look, if Tyson's still there, even if Tyson's still there, I'm not sure what they're going to do, but just I think you should still keep an eye on Alex Len. Obviously, Mark disagrees, and I see your side as well. But I've read the Phoenix. I haven't done my deep journalistic review of the Phoenix papers in the last few days, but I know as early as a couple weeks ago, like their main purpose for this year was one of them was developing Alex Len. The other was developing Archie Goodwin and Booker. So those were the 3 main guys that they wanted to see what they had this year. Because obviously,
and I think maybe we should talk about Archie Goodwin for a minute too, because he had a couple of great games, a string of great games, more consistent, in fact, than Alex Len. Alex Len basically had 2 good games that you're referencing. No, Archie Goodwin had like 3 or 4 good games. Those were pretty atypical though of like the stats that he got in limited playing time. Like if you extrapolate out what he's been doing in limited playing time, he's been performing well above those marks. So I wonder, I guess I'm curious to see what he does the rest of the season. If he is actually the player where, he scores close to 20 points a game and is racking up a bunch of assists, which he's done for a little while. Or if he's he had a string the end of last week, where he scored 9 points over 2 games and he shot horribly from the field. And only got 2 assists in those games. So I actually wouldn't mind selling high on Archie Goodwin. If you picked him up and if other people in your league were sort of jealous, I guess, that Archie Goodwin got snatched away from him, I wouldn't mind trying to sell high on him, because I'm not convinced that his production, the 5 or 6 good games that he's had, is sustainable for the rest of the season. I'm not sure that he's that kind of player. I think maybe he's just been playing over his head for a few games. Now, I could be completely wrong. Maybe with the new role, he develops into a new type of player, but there's not a lot of statistical evidence that he can keep this up.
Yeah, to me, I think Goodwin, and again, this is all contingent on Brandon Knight, right? If Brandon Knight comes back, Goodwin, rest.
We've just heard so little news. I'm assuming that Brandon Knight's not coming back, but
yeah,
it could definitely happen.
And I still have Knight in one of my leagues, and I'm just about to dump him. But so I think Archie Goodwin, it's going to be an ebb and flow, ups and downs. He's just not. He's going to be.
But there's another good reason to sell him is if Brandon Knight maybe comes back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you could get, I don't know, like a top 70, 80 player for Archie Goodwin, and I'm not even sure who I'm talking about necessarily, but if you could get that type of value for him, which is probably what he's been worth the last couple of weeks, I think I would try to move him, because I think there's a good chance this is the peak of his value for the rest of the season.
See, and I think I would stay with him just because, and it's a little tougher to say with Earl Watson coming in, because we don't know. Hopefully, he's going to keep this the pace of play as high as Hornacek was, because with Hornacek they were top 5 in the NBA in pace. So which more possessions equal more fantasy goodness for your players. So that's why any Phoenix guy getting a lot of minutes I want on my fantasy teams. Now
But so you just said like we don't know, and that's kind of basically my point. We don't know about Brandon Knight, we don't know about Earl Watson, and
Right.
frankly, we don't know about Archie Goodwin. So if
Right.
you can sell him at his current value, if you could get, I don't know, George Hill or Tobias Harris or Contavious Caldwell Pope or somebody, Goran Dragic even. If you could get that type of a player back for Archie Goodwin and sort of lock in the value that he's been giving you, I would do it.
Yeah, and to me, I would just I'd stick with Goodwin. I'm like, I mean, if you do want to try to unload him, I guess now would be the time. But I'd ride it out in that system. I don't think or what's Earl Watson going to do? Have them play like it's the '90s and have them go back to like Knicks, Miami Heat basketball? I mean, they're gonna.
Derek Fisher tried it last year.
I mean, that's why Barnes tried to punch him in the head. But so I mean, so tonight.
No. I'm not saying that Goodwin for sure won't have value. I'm just worried about it.
I hear you. No, and I'm worried too. But I think and this may kind of explain our different styles in fantasy, right? I'm a little more risky, so I would take the risk in keeping him, and not unless I could get a really good deal. But I mean, look at tonight. So they're playing Toronto. Kyle Lowry's a really good defender now that he's lost all that weight. Doesn't eat those what are the what's the shakes? The McFreezies. Yeah, the McFreezy that he stopped.
Where drinking. Do you buy McFreezy? I'm not familiar with those.
McDonald's.
I think those are McFlurries.
Oh yeah, really?
Aren't they? Right? The milkshakes at McDonald's. I haven't been McDonald's.
No idea.
I've been there for 10 years, so I could be wrong.
No, that does sound more right. Did I just make up McFlurry? What did I say?
McFreezy. I kind of like it. I think if this podcast doesn't work out, we should go into the McFreezy business.
Right now, I actually want a milkshake now.
A McFreezy seems more like a Slurpee than a milkshake.
I guess so. Or whatever the heck he was drinking. I think you're right. A McFlurry. So now that he doesn't drink those, he's up. So Toronto was playing Phoenix. Archie Goodwin. 41 minutes tonight, 18 points, and 11 assists. Like that's like, you can't get that on the waiver wire, and like that's way better than Goran Dragic line. So, I'm willing to risk it.
Okay, he had a good game tonight, and then look at the last two games. He shot.
I know
1 of 11, and then he shot 3 of 15, and he scored 9 points and had 2 assists in 2 games.
In full disclosure, so I watched in full disclosure, I watched their last game when they played at Dallas. Now Archie Goodwin turned into Joe Johnson because he did not have a pulse. He played 36 minutes and had 3 points and 0 assists, which is almost impossible.
He scored. He was 1 for, and it wasn't because he wasn't taking shots. He was 1 for 11 from the field. So I'm just saying, like, there's a chance that he's very good. Although I don't know. Like, I don't know what his ceiling is.
All right, so I think we're clear that you're a little more cautious.
Sell high.
So what about Booker? Do you feel a little bit better about Booker?
I think Booker, what he's been giving you so far is what you can expect from him the rest of the season. I think his production is real. I don't think it's just a couple of good games. Plus, he's done it for a little bit longer, and I don't think it's obvious he can score points, and it's obvious he can shoot the ball. I think the rebounds and assists are going to be a little bit up and down night to night, and he's not giving you any defensive stats really. He had 1 game earlier this season where he got 4 steals, but I think he has 2 steals in his last 10 games combined, and 1 or 2 blocks in that time. So I think he is what he is, which is basically just points and 3-pointers still, but he'll be very good at those 2 things. I think.
Yeah.
I think that's roughly like a top 100, like a right around 100 value.
I concur with that.
Yeah.
And interesting thing I learned about Devin Booker today was that according to ESPN defensive real plus minus rankings, he is the 3rd worst in the NBA right now at -4.39.
Do you want to tell us who's worse?
Yeah, I do, Mark.
Let's hear it.
So number 1 surprised me. Shabazz Muhammad is the worst in defensive real plus or minus at negative 5.13. The number 2 is Gary Neal at negative 4.62. So maybe, I did want Shabazz to get a little bit more playing time, especially when Kevin Martin was getting minutes earlier in the year. But maybe there is some method to Sam Mitchell's madness on why Shabazz wasn't getting more minutes. That's pretty bad.
It's not great.
No. So, all right, the last player that real quickly on Phoenix, because I feel like we keep talking about Phoenix. No one ever talks about this guy, dude, and he's fantasy relevant. That's PJ Tucker. He's the most consistent guy in that team.
I feel like you give the same lead into PJ Tucker every time we talk about the Suns, which seemingly is like every show at this point. I think your love for PJ Tucker is well documented.
No, I don't love him. I'm just saying, like, especially if you're streaming guys, don't forget about this guy. And like he's
another guy that I would say, as I'm watching we knew that Jeff Hornacek loved playing PJ Tucker. It'll be interesting to see if Earl Watson deviates from that, because he's the type of guy that, like, if he doesn't get 34 to 36 minutes per night, he's not worth streaming.
Correct.
He has to play a lot of minutes to accumulate any sort of stats that will be useful.
But a lot of teams around the league like PJ Tucker's game. Like, he can help a contender. He can give a contender some consistent minutes. Really good defender. So I think they're going to package. I think what they're trying to do is they want to package PJ Tucker with Markieff or Tyson Chandler, because you can't just you're going to have to give someone of value, someone that other teams want. So I can't wait to see what happens with Phoenix, man. Because if they could just somehow get rid of Tucker, Markieff, and Tyson Chandler, Archie Goodwin and Booker and my boy Alex Len could be monsters. I'm not sure who they would get back as well. Would be interesting, but Phoenix is going to probably be the most interesting team, just from a fantasy perspective, not real life NBA, to watch before the trade deadline.
And don't forget about Alex Len. Did you leave him off of your dream team that you just outlined?
I cannot wait when we do no halftime. Alex Len versus Clint Capella.
I'm serious. I want to do it every single day for a week.
I will. I will do it I'm so confident. I will, and I hate Alex Len, by the way, even though it sounds like I like him now because I've been pushing him, but. I just think
that seems like a move where you can come back after I beat you 5 straight times and say I hated Alex Len.
No,
anyway.
It's not. And look, I think you should know me by now. If I hate a player, why would I hate a player?
You lost some money.
Alex Len. If I had to think of the 3 guys who cost me the most money in DFS last year, and one of them was Alex Len. There was a night where I was playing way more than I should have, like high stakes tournaments, like $300, $400, $500 entry fee tournaments. And I wanted to go a little bit contrarian, so I played Alex Len. And it was a night where he ended up playing – he was starting, and he ended up playing like 8 minutes because he picked up 3 fouls in like the first 3 minutes. And it was like – the game started – like, let's say game started at 7 o'clock. By 7:01, I was drinking. It was just that kind of night. Anyway. But I will play you Alex Len versus Clint Capella every day the rest of the season.
Yeah. All right, let's give another plug. We've been talking about them a lot. Let's give another plug to our sponsors. No Halftime, a fun way to basically play player versus player, like we've been talking about, where I can pick a player, you pick a player, and we can have a contest. There are free contests now on the website, or you can do a game where you can win some money. It's basically like a Tinder style app, but for fantasy sports. And as Daniel mentioned at the beginning of the show, if you use the promo code B-Ball, then you can have a free $25 to play. So when you sign up, enter B-Ball, you can play. Do you want to should we give our listeners one tip, one no halftime tip? They obviously probably won't find a taker for every night of the week to take Clint Capella versus Alex Len. I like your Paul George thing. Although I think rest of season he probably recovers his value. I think right now is a good time to take advantage of him.
Yeah. And against Paul George, take the top players in the league.
Yeah.
I'm talking. You take Steph Curry versus Chris Paul. I mean, Steph Curry versus Paul George.
Don't you think that would like alarm people? Like, I'm wondering even if you could take good fantasy players that aren't necessarily like the biggest super. Like, what about Kyle Lowry? I feel like pretty confident. James Harden, even. Of course, Harden right now. Harden's been playing great, and I feel like people would think James Harden, Paul George are roughly the same. Yeah, we even do like Damian Lillard versus Paul George. Yeah, I would do a lot of those. So,
I'm trying to think of another challenge.
You'd probably take Alex Len against Paul George. You want to do that one? I would take Paul George in that.
Man, I'm telling you, I cannot wait when Alex Len just gets unleashed after Tyson Chandler gets traded.
I can't wait for his 8 points and 6 rebound games. It's going to be exhilarating.
Let's do Alex Len versus Tayshaun Prince.
Oh no. I'm not. I don't think even I would take that. I think Tayshaun Prince doesn't accumulate stats anymore.
God, that guy's so bad.
I'm taking against Karl-Anthony Towns. All right.
Let's move on. Let's talk about another player, Mark. And this is a guy who I'm not even sure what his ownership levels are right now. It might be interesting to check out.
Go check for him.
Yeah. So MKG, Michael Gilchrist.
You zigged when I expected you to zag. I thought you were talking about Nikola Mirotic.
Oh no! Did we? No, I wasn't gonna skip over MKG, man.
I see. I'm sorry. I read your notes out of order here.
That's all right. Yeah, some of you listeners might be like, they have notes. Yes, we do.
That's going to be really disappointing to hear for everybody to realize that we sort of try to plan out what we're going to talk about.
I know the problem is, and maybe this may be more of a issue with me. Since I've been on the show, we get sidetracked more, right? Is there or no?
You know what I think. I don't know. Probably,
or it's just bound to happen because there's so many.
Bound to happen.
Yeah. So
Kyle. I will say Kyle was really good and professional about sticking to what we decided to talk about. I think if there's a problem here, it's probably me.
I don't know. I will take definitely 50% of the blame.
You want to take a guess at Michael Kidd-Gilchrist's ownership percentage on ESPN?
Oh wow.
52%.
Really?
52%.
I wonder what that was like before his first 2 games.
It's up 45%.
So he was like 7%?
He was at 7%.
Wow. So, as me and Mark are alluding to, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist came back for Charlotte. First 2 games, and man, he looked pretty good. His first game back, he had 13 points, 7 rebounds, 1 assist, and most importantly, dear God, Coach Clifford, 34 minutes. After seeing like a whole season. I mean, the second game back, 29. That can't be right. Not 29 points last night. Hold on.
He had 19 points and 12 rebounds.
Okay, last night, 19 points, 12 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 3-pointers in 27 minutes. So Michael Kidd-Gilchrist has always been an interesting fantasy player because normally he's been one of those guys who's kind of a better player in real life than he is in fantasy. So when he came back, I saw on Twitter a lot of people were extremely excited. And these 2 stat lines are pretty impressive, I think, especially for his first 2 games back. But I'm still not entirely sold on what he's going to contribute the rest of the year. What are your thoughts on MKG coming back?
Well, I mean, I guess they're impressive. I guess I would say he had 13 points, 7 rebounds, and nothing else against Portland, which is okay, but not something that you get excited about. And then he played the Lakers, which you can't completely throw out, but to some extent you can kind of ignore it, right?
Yep.
So he had 19 points, 12 rebounds against them. We've never seen him be like we just got done talking about PJ Tucker. In some ways, he's sort of a similar fantasy producer as PJ Tucker. He's a better real life player than PJ Tucker, but from fantasy perspective,
the one thing PJ Tucker can do that Michael Kidd-Gilchrist at least hasn't shown the ability to do, and that's shoot.
Right, he's not going to hit a ton of 3-pointers.
Yeah,
the good thing about Michael Kidd-Gilchrist is
he shoots. You duck in your apartment or house. That's how bad his shooting has been.
The good thing is that he doesn't take a lot of shots, and so his field goal percentage isn't necessarily hurt by the fact that he's not a good jump shooter.
Correct.
So he's at least got that going for you. Last season, for example, he shot 46%. The season before, he shot 47%. So I don't know. I mean, I think he might get you, like last season, he averaged 11.7 rebounds. He didn't give you a steal or a block, which is sort of surprising to me considering that he's a very, very good defender, but he doesn't really accumulate the defensive stats that you're looking for. I just think he's a waiver wire level player. Like you could pick him up and stream him, but I don't think you want to own this guy.
Yeah, and I'm kind of with you. And this is actually via the almighty Kyle McEwen from Basketball Monster. So like the best stretch of MKG's short professional career came after the All-Star break last year. And that's when he was like the 83rd ranked player in nine category leagues. And even then, he averaged like 12.2 points, 0 3-pointers. So,
well, in 9 categories, he's helped out by the fact that he doesn't turn it over a ton.
Right. So he had 8.2 rebounds and 1.1 assists, 0.6 steals, 0.9 blocks, 1.2 turnovers in 34 minutes per game. And he shot 48% from the field, 77% from the line. That was after the All-Star. So, like, I'm with you, man. Like, I just don't. He's going to be a player that I would own and then drop because I get frustrated, then pick up again and drop again. He's not going to. He's not going to. I don't think enough to swing a league in your favor.
Yeah, I don't usually read questions on the podcast, but I just got one on Twitter that is sort of relevant to our podcast tonight, so I'm going to read it. It's from one of my probably people who tweets me the most, Clayton Willer. He says, "Should I drop Rodney Hood or Michael Kidd-Gilchrist for Markieff Morris?"
In no way in hell are you dropping Rodney Hood.
Exactly. That's exactly. So don't drop Hood, but I think I would drop I would drop Michael Kidd-Gilchrist for Markieff Morris just to see, and if Michael Kidd-Gilchrist gets picked up by somebody, I think you'll find somebody else on the waiver wire that's the same level as Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. Like if you need to pick up PJ Tucker or whoever else. Yeah, somebody's going to be there that's going to give you the 10 points and 7 rebounds.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that just based on Markieff's upside. I mean, Markieff, has an upside that MKG just does not have.
Right.
But MKG's floor is a hell of a lot higher than Markieff.
Sure, but so if he doesn't work out, you can just drop him and pick up somebody else who's just like Michael Kidd-Gilchrist.
I totally agree. Yeah. We are in agreement on our first thing on the podcast. It came.
I knew we could do it if we kept talking.
It came over 50 minutes in, but we agree on something. So
right, let's get to our last piece of news here. Nikola Mirotic.
Yeah. So Nikola Mirotic, who we reported last week had appendicitis, was going to get his appendix removed, and that's where I told you my beautiful cat story that I know Mark loved. Mirotic underwent a hematoma removal procedure over the weekend. And the Bulls have not released a timetable for his return. So originally we thought it was just the appendicitis. He's going to return right after the All-Star break. This looks like now it's a little bit more serious. Mark's the resident doctor on the show, so I'm going to go to Mark on this hematoma. Like first I thought this was what they called what Adam Sandler mentions in the Waterboy movie in the classroom, like the hemoglobin. So I have no idea what this thing is. Mark, what should we do?
Man. I did Google hematoma, and it looks like it's a blood clot.
That's not good.
That's embedded in the tissue. Yeah, I mean, that seems sort of dangerous, and they're going to keep him in the hospital for a little bit.
Yeah, blood clots you do not mess around with.
I found a video on YouTube of a hematoma removal that you can watch if you'd like. I just shared the link with you, Daniel.
Thank you.
All of that to say, I have no idea what this means. I mean, I think it was clear that you were joking that I don't know what this means.
Yeah.
So I think this is ugly. I don't want to watch this. Oh, it's pretty gross. I mean, I think we'll hear in the next couple of days how long he's out for. Hopefully it's not a long time. I mean, we saw sort of a scary situation. Was it last year with Chris Bosh and a blood clot?
Last year missed the whole second half of the season.
And that was in his lung and not embedded in muscle tissue. So there is a difference there. He very well could still be back after the All-Star break. So I don't think you want to panic with this news, but it's not great news.
Yeah, I think all we can say, though, with this news, we probably will agree on this as well. Don't go rush to your waiver wire to pick up Bobby Portis. Do we agree on that?
Yep.
Although this does mean, Taj Gibson's now probably locked into those 30 minutes. Portis is gonna get 20 to 22 minutes like he's been getting, but really besides Butler Maybe.
Portis is going to keep putting up Alex Len type numbers.
You know what? Would you leave Alex Len alone? What did that poor guy do to you? Man, I'm telling you. I'm making a list of like all the people you hate. So you hate Ben Wallace, you hate Tom Izzo, hate Alex Len, and then you have a list of who you love: Clint Capella.
You can put Bobby Portis on the list.
Which one? The ones you hate?
Yeah.
Really? You don't like his game at all?
No, I don't hate him. I don't like. I don't think he's worth a fantasy pickup, and I think we're in agreement on that one.
Yeah, no, we totally are. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about one more thing. Right now, Mark, on the vast waiver wire, there's still a lot of good guys out there. There's Zach LaVine. We mentioned all those Phoenix guys. I'm getting a lot of Jeff Green questions again. I just don't. I wish there was a way.
Don't do it to yourself.
Yeah. Jokic is an interesting guy. My boy Aaron Gordon. You got to give me some love on that one. That's a guy you hated, yet I called that one, Mark. He's been playing out of his mind lately.
I still don't think I would pick him up.
Really, you still wouldn't?
Probably he's been playing well. I will definitely.
Well, not only that though. Like
Skiles up there, and he's been playing a lot of minutes.
He's been playing a ton of minutes. He's gotten over 38 the last couple of games.
That's been the thing that's most surprising. The rebounds are obviously are great, and I think if you need rebounds, he's probably a good pickup. And I'm still not convinced that the defensive stats are going to be there like they should be, but.
Well, and the cool thing, though, was that against San Antonio, he put up 16 rebounds. That's what was most exciting to me in their last game. So, but he really has. I mean, like if you've been watching those Orlando games, and I have because I do have a lot of Aaron Gordon. He's one of those guys who flies off the screen. Like his energy is just.
No, there's no doubt about that. He's a fun guy to watch.
Yeah, so I mean, like I really do think, and Orlando's been in a free fall that they're going to keep playing Gordon a lot of minutes. So I don't think he has the upside that some people project. I know me and you've already discussed a lot of Aaron Gordon, but I do think.
I think what scares me as much as anything is just the coaching situation. I think that it's finicky and can change really quickly, and so I hate to invest in him too.
Okay, let me ask you this. This is a good question for you then. Markieff or Aaron Gordon? Would you go Markieff?
Yeah, I think so.
See, and there's where that's tough.
No halftime. I can
tough.
Get some more money out of you there.
That is a tough. Oh. Well, see, the problem is right now. I mean, the next 2.5 weeks, it's going to be Markieff's going to be in fantasy land. It's just going to be shots galore. So I'd be nervous. I wouldn't want that no halftime the next couple of weeks. But after the trade deadline,
your favorite player in the league, you wouldn't take Markieff Morris against Aaron Gordon, who is like you've been talking about on this podcast. I thought we were going to have to name it the Aaron Gordon podcast for a little while.
Well, who's my favorite player? Is it Aaron Gordon or Alex Len? I mean, I can't.
I think Aaron Gordon has a slight advantage. But just like by a hair.
Funny. I actually hate both those guys. and
Aaron Gordon really is a fun.
Like Markieff because Markieff has made me.
Aaron Gordon is a fun NBA player to watch, though. There's no question about that. I think. I think Aaron Gordon. In a deep league, so this is where it's league specific. Like I think he's a safer player. I think there's a better chance that he finishes in the top 150 than Markieff, but I think there's a much better chance that Markieff finishes in the top 75 than Aaron Gordon. And so in a standard league, I would take the risk on Markieff.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. I'm just checking me and Mark. In our second chance league, hopefully you guys listen to that podcast on Monday. I think Monday. It's only 4 hours long, so it was a good podcast.
My favorite comment that I got was one of our listeners was like, "Hey, I love that podcast, but I don't think anybody else is going to listen to it for 2 hours."
But me and Mark are playing in week 1, and right now we are knotted up at 4-4.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Of course, you have Kobe Bryant. The one night that Kobe's got 15 points in the first half, 3 3-pointers. Go figure. 4 assists, best game of the year. That bum. Anyway, so all right, Mark. That's just about it for the show. Let's see. Let me get to my notes. My 2 pages of notes. Anything else? Oh, we didn't talk about this. So real quickly though, if there's one guy any one guy who's the best guy on the waiver wire right now for you?
So you listed out here: LaVine, Booker, Goodwin, Jeff Green. You actually put Zach LaVine on here twice. Do you want to explain to the listeners why you love Zach LaVine so much?
Well, I think
that you do.
Yeah, no, Zach LaVine's probably one of my favorite players to watch the second half of the season. He's been if you look at his stats the last few weeks, I mean, he's been on a pace that he will not be able to duplicate. I think he's been like the 21st ranked player over the last week or so, averaging like 25 points, two 3-pointers, over 3 assists, a steal in over 30 minutes, and he's shooting. This is the problem. He can't maintain this. He was shooting 71%.
So you don't think wait. You don't think that's going to happen?
Yeah, that's probably going to come down a little bit, but I love LaVine. I like Minnesota. Nothing to play for. I think they're gonna dump or trade Kevin Martin. He's not getting really any minutes anyway. Right now he's not playing because they're saying he has quote unquote injury, but he's not really hurt. So I think LaVine's minutes will be on the rise. I also think Rubio is probably going to get banged up again like he always does. I love LaVine. I think he has just fantastic upside in a lot of different categories. He's one of my favorite players. If he's available right now, he's a guy, especially, and he's hot as well right now. So he's a guy that I would pick up. He's my favorite player right now to get on the waiver wire.
My favorite guy, and I would put him above Markieff Morris, is Nikola Jokic.
Yeah, you love Jokic, and you have him on your second chance league.
Yeah, which it sort of hurts me because I think he's taking minutes from Yusuf Nurkic, who I actually like more. But if they're going to give minutes to Jokic, I think he's a guy you got to go try to own. The last week in his 4 games, he's averaged 15 points, 10.5 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 1 block, and a half a 3-pointer per game, shooting 52% from the field. Who knows if he can keep it up, but if he can, that's basically like a 3rd-round value right there.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm a fan of him as well. And Nurkic he's going to be on a minutes restrictions until the end of time. So I'm not entirely worried about him right now, quite honestly. So yeah, like I do love Jokic as well. So
all right, Daniel, thanks for taking us through that. That's a lot of good stuff you got there.
Now I got to type up all this an email to you about all our no halftime challenges because we have about 1,000 of them. So
I'm excited. You're gonna pay for my Valentine's present this year.
This we must discuss on Friday's show. I want to get all inside your head. What does Mark Roberts do for his lovely wife? How long you guys been married?
Good question.
Oh wow. Well, don't worry. I'll edit this out so okay. You'll know this.
Give me 7 years. 7 years, I think. Is it 7? Or I can't remember if we're over or under 7 years, but we're right around 7.
All right. So, what does Mark Roberts do for his wife?
You want to talk about it on?
Yes, on Friday's show, we will delve deep into the side of the head of Mark Roberts to learn what he does for Valentine's Day. Also, we can discuss what I do for Valentine's Day for whoever I'm dating at that moment. I'm sure they'll be entirely different. We'll have entirely different strategies.
I feel like that's a dig at me somehow, but we'll talk on.
No, I meant it in a good way. Like you're, whereas because I might be alone, just giving Ed Harris like flowers or roses, my dog.
Yeah.
Would you actually have like legitimate Valentine?
I don't know if I can discuss it until after Valentine. Well, my wife listens occasionally, so.
Oh, so wait, so are you the one that does? So you do like surprises and things like that?
Yeah.
Oh, so you're romantic. Look at you. I will say this. Oh, you want to? No, go ahead. Last outset. So I've only cooked maybe like 4 times in my life. 3 of those times have come on Valentine's Day.
Very nice.
Yeah, caught all 3 of them off guard.
It sounds like it.
Yeah. Anyway, I can only cook one thing. It's the only reason why it's like a Valentine's Day dish. So
nice.
Yeah. So look forward to that on Friday's show. Some cooking, maybe we'll discuss.
We'll discuss cooking. We'll discuss Greece.
Oh,
anything but basketball. I'm starting to think you don't like basketball that much.
Tonight I did not. With my Miami Heat losing, I lost in DFS. You made fun of me for Alex Len.
You lost to me. You're losing to me in our second chance league already.
No, we're tied, and I will prevail. Also on Friday's show, the guy who we forgot to mention today was Langston Galloway.
Okay.
Who filled in as starter for Jose Calderon and had a horrible day today. He's an interesting guy though to keep an eye on. But no, come on, you know me. I love basketball, but I also love I other things as well. It's good to diversify. So, all right, guys, that's it. Otherwise, I'm going to bore you to death. So we will see you on Friday's show. Look at the Wheel of Nonsense poll on Twitter, and we will see you guys on Friday. Later, guys.
Bye.